What it is, what it do, cyber world. It is your girl, the one and only Ash Said It. AshSaidIt.com, AshSaidIt.com. Welcome back to the Ash Said It Daily podcast show. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for all your support, all your love, all your shares. Yes, we are nearly at 500,000 streams worldwide. Would not be possible without each and every one of you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I get the pleasure of speaking with international speaker and the female hit, the wonderful Diana Mandell. Diana.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing pretty good. How are you doing today?
I'm great, thanks.
Awesome, awesome. When did you start this whole dating relationship coach thing?
So when I was 10, I saved a girl's life from suicide. So I think I realized then that I had some sort of innate gift, within me to really help people. And I always saw that people's relationships, I grew up with parents who had an amazing relationship, but I realized that a lot of other people weren't as lucky as me. And I realized that was not the norm, even though growing up, clearly you think it is. And so I realized there was a huge gap between people who are single and not happy and people who are in relationships and weren't so happy. And a lot of the dating coaches out there don't really have the history, the background, the educational experience. So I wanted to really put my own sort of flavor into dating in a kind of more of an old school internal approach to dating.
As we're going into the holiday season, what are some of the mistakes that you've seen both men and women make?
So a lot of people tend to settle because they feel lonely. The holiday season's coming up, you're with your family, it's cold out, it's snowing, you're by a fire. So I think a lot of people kind of feel lonely. And what ends up happening is they put a lot of pressure on themselves to find someone, and it's typically not necessarily the right one. It's just kind of someone who's convenient or nearby. Maybe it's an old flame, but they're not taking their time. They're just kind of jumping into, something because it seems like something they should do. And sort of along the same lines, it's that people compare themselves to others. So often you'll see, it's a big time where people tend to get engaged. It's a time where you tend to see couples out and about and going to different holiday parties, and it feels bad. Start comparing yourself. I know I did that. I'm like a little bit of a late bloomer. I'm engaged when I'm 32. So, I kind of had a lot of my later 20s when my friends were getting married and having babies, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, like, what's wrong with me? But it's really just your path is different. There's nothing wrong with that. And it tends to be actually 31 to like 35, getting married in that age range is actually kind of one of the best times to get married because you really know yourself well. Yeah. So just realize that it's your own path, like you're doing you, and just, rushing into something and making something happen doesn't put you in a better spot than anyone else.
What would you say would be one of the top issues that people bring up to you when they're trying to navigate this whole dating situation?
So a lot of it is repeated patterns. So it's things that you've done in the past, and you continually do them over and over, whether it's dating the same type of person, or you're going the same type of places to meet someone, it's just not working out. So you think to yourself, if something's not working, then it's time to do something a bit different. And I think a lot of people, because we tend to be in our comfort zones, don't like to do things that are different. We don't like to navigate in kind of a different way and look at things in different aspects. So that's definitely one thing. Another thing is confidence. It's a huge issue. Just not feeling worthy of love, not really putting themselves out there, not wanting to be vulnerable, not feeling comfortable doing that. So we tend to be holding back. So oftentimes in our first dates, and even kind of like 1 to 5 dates where you're really trying to get to know someone, kind of a lot of surface level conversation, and it's not about getting into a more real, type of conversations and topics to have. So yes, you don't want it to be this crazy serious, thing that you want it light and airy, asking kind of general, like, get to know me questions, but you also want to be asking more serious questions about people's future and their vision and, what they're passionate about and, what scares them. And those are things you want to know because you kind of quickly want to know whether this is someone you want to invest your time in. And if you're at sort of date 5 and you have no idea anything about this person, you're just kind of having fun and going out and, having drinks, having good food. But yeah, that's great. But you actually want to, it's a medium to meet someone, right? And to actually know enough information about them to see that it's someone that you'd want to pursue. Right. So that's another thing that's happening is kind of sort of surface level conversation, and it's not getting, sort of past that. And the confidence issue is a huge thing. The repeated patterns, not feeling worthy of love, and not practicing what you preach. That's another thing. A lot of people, what I like to ask my clients is, would you date you? So you need to be the kind of person that you say you'd want in someone else. So that makes sense. So I think a lot of people that don't feel fulfilled or aren't necessarily happy in their lives and they go out to find someone, you're typically going to attract someone that you're marrying, so they're not necessarily going to be in a great place in their life either. Does that make sense?
Yes, no, you said a lot that definitely makes sense. But people do come to me a lot of times, and I do tell them in a roundabout way, you need to be what you're expecting of people. Like to say, okay, well, yeah, I want a guy that, he drives a big fancy car, he's got a big fancy house, but you don't have your stuff together. You can't expect something of someone else if you're not living, that same situation.
Absolutely. And, that goes with weight, that goes with how you feel about yourself, that goes with your ambition, exactly what you're saying. It's, like mirror what you want. It doesn't really make sense if you're not living that life. Do you want someone else to? Because it's not really in alignment.
Exactly. Not in alignment. All right. So your new highly anticipated book, The Attraction Method, is getting ready to be dropped next week. Let's talk about the inspiration behind this project.
So I wrote a book a little while ago. Loved it. It was really great. That was actually on dating mistakes that, singles are making, what to do about them. And I wanted to now do something that was a bit different. And so I realized that, especially for men, attracting women, they just don't really know how to do it. How, the mindset, understanding women. So it is more geared towards men, but it's also to obviously help women. So men understand women better. So a lot of it, again, goes to mindset, understanding women, how to build rapport. A lot of guys don't understand how to do that, and so they do it in a way that they think, would work for a woman, but it doesn't really work. And that's where kind of the dichotomy of men and women being different and not necessarily understanding each other is happening, which is bringing some other issues into the mix too. But, it's really kind of giving that guy a leg up, because a lot of the guys who are so great and so sweet are not the ones that are approaching women, typically in bars and just being out. It's typically the guys kind of like, well, they're obnoxious and maybe drunk, so it's really giving the guy who's really sweet and just afraid to go up to a woman the tools and the strategies to be able to go and do that.
What do you think are holding these guys back from approaching women?
I think they're scared to death. It's the idea of failing, so it's part of it is the ego. It's not knowing how to read a woman properly or her body language, and it's the fear of rejection and not knowing what to say. And so when you see a woman, instead of being like, oh my God, I'd love to go up and talk to her, there's just something about her that really draws me in. Instead, they'll start that teeth in their head. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I can't do this. I'm afraid. Da, da, da. You know what I mean? And they'll just literally talk themselves out of it every single time. And they go home feeling really bad about themselves. So that's the interesting thing is that great girl who wants to meet a great guy doesn't. So she goes home feeling really bad about herself. And the guy who wants to approach and should approach, they deserve to be with each other. They're both great people. He doesn't approach, and then he doesn't feel good about it. He doesn't feel, he feels shame. And so then he goes home alone, and it's just kind of it's a cyclical pattern. That's what ends up happening. And I realized that in my dating life, it was the same way. That I ended up sort of dating not so nice guys. And some had to do with how I felt about myself, but part of it had to do with the fact that those were the guys who were approaching me. You know what I mean? It was that's what I had to pick from. So, again, a lot of it has to do with, it's really mostly mindset. If we want to put it under one umbrella term, it's mostly, mindset, but it's fear of rejection, fear of failure, the confidence issue, not knowing what to say, not knowing how to read a woman, not knowing that she even wants to be approached, and most women do. So it's kind of, the wires are kind of not being crossed properly.
Good point. And I always love to hear from people like yourself that kind of give us both sides of the fence, because I think a lot of times we're like, we're great women, we have all this stuff to offer, why aren't the guys coming and approaching us? But then we have to take a step back and say, okay, wow, why aren't they approaching us? Okay, yeah, the fear of rejection, maybe previous experiences, maybe there's something about you that reminds him of an ex-girlfriend, whatever the case may be. So it's always good to get both sides of the fence.
Another quick tip that I really love, and I'm trying to push among women, is for women to approach. That's not something that we typically do, but if you think about it, if maybe, I don't know, probably 10% maybe of the men who actually approach you are someone you'd be interested in, then it means that you should go do it yourself. So if there's a guy that you think looks cute, or, he looks funny, he's making someone else laugh, there's just something about his vibe that you like, whatever it is, go up and talk to him. Guys really appreciate that. It's kind of changing things up a little bit, and it's going after what you want. So that's definitely something that I think is a great thing to think about, where, it's probably a little bit strange because it's not tradition, but it also puts you in the driver's seat, so you get to decide, who you want to date and when, and, take it into your own hands and see what happens.
Yeah, that's also a good point, Diana. But I think that, a lot of us are still afraid too. Because even though,
Sure,
we're
but
these big.
that's the point. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like just making guys do it like they're scared. It's like we're all scared. We're scared of getting hurt. We're scared of getting rejected. We're scared of failure. We're scared of not knowing sort of what's going to happen in the next moment. But I think, it's kind of an exercise to think about, if anything, if you're not willing to do it, but think about the fact that, it's really put on guys to do it. That's hard for them as well, for all of us to put ourselves out there. But trying it once, you'll see that even if it doesn't go that well, it's still a learning experience, which is really important. And it's putting yourself out there. It's kind of leaning into your fear and putting feet into your own hands. Because obviously the guys are approaching you, it's not working, doing, sort of changing things up and changing up the, perspective may really help. And again, you'll never see the guy again if it doesn't work out. You know what I mean? Like, that's the good thing. You don't die, nothing horrible happens. Work from source, he just says he's not interested.
We'll just fall
right?
into
You know what I
obscurity.
mean? Like, most people aren't cruel. It just may not work out,
Definitely. All right. Diana Mandell. Diana, let everybody know how they can get in contact with you and, of course, pre-orders for the attraction method.
Sure. So on Instagram, it's Diana Mandell. My website is DianaMandell.com. I'm noticing a theme. And I'm posting all the time on Instagram. That's probably one of the best places to find me if you want to find out more information about me and my story and where I've been published and all that good stuff. Feel free to check me out on my website.
Sounds like a plan. Diana, thank you so much for making time for us. Much more success. And I want to hear more and more about the attraction method. We got to get this offline here, but we'll talk to you really soon.
Thank you.
Thanks. And thank you guys for downloading the show. We appreciate you so very much. Keep in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face and tell them, don't believe me, just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for. We're doing this for the history books. Social media is nice. It's cool. It's fun. But real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.